What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, March 9th. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books and probably the biggest stack of extra goodies that I've ever gotten before, but we'll get to that in just a few minutes. First, real quick, guys, if you are in the US and you need a comic shop, or if you have one, you're looking for a different one, reach out to Infinity Flux. They'll be linked or tagged, or wherever you're watching this, there will be a way to find them, contact them, let them know what you're looking for, and they can probably help you out. So let's get into the books, because there's a bunch of cool stuff this week, starting with Marvel, starting with Amazing Spider-Man number 92. We're almost at the end of the Beyond storyline. We have technically 2 parts left, but one of those is a .bay, .bey title. The next one is, I think, and then 93, which should be 2 weeks from now, is going to be the last one. In this one, we've got Peter and Misty Knight, and Colleen Wing, and and somebody else fighting what was behind Door Z from last issue, and then we've got Ben Reilly taking on Beyond, basically trying to get his stolen memories back. So this has been a really fun story. I'm actually kind of curious, what they're going to do with Ben. We know we've got the new run of Amazing Spider-Man starting over with number 1. Coming up really soon, so I'm interested to see what happens with Ben. But this has been a good series. Black Panther number 3, the second print. So number 4 came out last week. I missed number 3, the first print, when it came out. So I just read this a little while ago and thought it was pretty cool. So now I can read number 4 from last week. I'm enjoying this storyline of Black Panther trying to deactivate this program of sleeper agents that he established all over the world, because somebody has found them and is killing them all. So Black Panther has to try to save them all. He goes to Mars, or I guess Araco, which is the new name for Mars now that the X-Men have terraformed it. But he goes there. That's pretty cool. There's a kind of a surprise there that I didn't see coming. So yeah, a really good story. I'm enjoying the story arc. Not sure if I'll stick with the book after this story arc, but I think I will for at least the rest of this story. Captain Carter number 1. So if you guys have watched the What If series on Disney Plus, you're familiar with Captain Peggy Carter. She is now fully ingrained in the comics, at least on her world anyway. So this issue was fine. It was a little bit slow. There was a lot of dialogue, but it's because it was setting up everything. So this starts at the begin. Well, not at the beginning, but this pulls an Avengers number 4, if you will. So they find Captain Carter frozen in ice. They thaw her out. It's her getting reacclimated to the new world, and there's some action in it in the back half as well. So pretty interesting. I don't know that I'll buy these in singles. I am interested in the story, though. I might trade weight this one, but I really did Captain Carter. I really liked her in the What If series, and now it's cool to have her in comics. Devil's Reign number 5, the nice Mark Bagley connecting variant. So this is the penultimate issue of this miniseries. We've got one more. And still, I don't know if we're done with the tie-ins yet. We'll look at a couple of those in a second. But this is still interesting. What's really cool about this is, well, something happened with Kingpin at the end of the last issue. I won't want to spoil anything, but that is now completely obsessing him. So he no longer cares about being mayor. He doesn't care about trying to save face with the public. He has one singular goal in mind, and he is not going to let anything get in the way. And that's pretty cool, because he's been mayor of New York for years, and this might be the end of it. Who knows how it's going to go? But it was really cool. I love the artwork in this. Marco Cicchetto is one of my favorites right now. We haven't got a lot of Daredevil though in this whole series, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it's really cool seeing Kingpin just being so driven. Like I said, he's got tunnel vision. He doesn't care what happens to him, his campaign, anything like that. He's got one goal, and we'll have to see if he carries it out. So speaking of tie-ins, we've got Devil's Reign Moon Knight, which seems like it should have been out a long time ago, because in Moon Knight number 8, which came out like a month or so ago, I'm not real sure, but he was in jail, which happens in here, and then but since then we've got Moon Knight number 9, which came out a couple weeks ago when he was out of jail. But now this story is him in jail, so I guess we'll just look back a little bit. But I'm kind of interested to see how Moon Knight operates in a confined place. It's kind of going to be kind of interesting. So I didn't get the chance to read this one. But I can't wait to. I've got to catch up on the other Devil's Reign tie-ins from last week to the Spider-Man and I think X-Men. So I've got to catch up. I'm just going to stack all these together and catch up on them. But yeah, Devil's Reign, Moon Knight in prison should be pretty good. And then one more, Devil's Reign Superior 4, number 3. So this is maybe a hot take, but thankfully this is the end of this one. I haven't been loving this one. This is probably my least favorite of the tie-ins. It just seems like it's so much further out there than all the other Devil's Reign stuff. I like this cover though, but you know, we've got Ock, and then we've got Hulk Ock and Wolverine Ock and Ghost Rider Ock, and it's just weird. It just seems a little bit too far-fetched for me, but I had to get them all, and I don't know. The Superior 4 from this miniseries do make an appearance in the main Devil's Reign book, at least in number 5. So, you know, we'll see how it all ties in. But this miniseries, this tie-in series, just seems like it's gone completely off in its own direction, and like you could even take the Devil's Reign sticker off of it, and it would still work. So I don't know. It's fine. I'm definitely gonna read it and finish it out, but I haven't really been loving this one so much. Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, number 5, so I believe this is the end of this miniseries. I haven't read number 4 yet either, so I've got to catch up on that one and then read this one. This has been a really fun miniseries, though. I have come to really, really like Kate Bishop. I've said it before, I didn't know much about her before the Hawkeye series on Disney+, but I tore through the Matt Fraction run and her own 2 different 6-issue miniseries, and then West Coast Avengers, which I really, really liked. So yeah, I've just come to really like her, and I can't wait to finish out this miniseries. So one that I'm actually not sure if I'm even going to read, and I'll tell you why, Punisher number 1. So I'm totally down for this story. The Punisher is leading the hand now. We don't know why. It's all explained in this, not necessarily this issue, but maybe through the whole thing. I think it's like a 10 or 12 issue maxi series. I think it sounds awesome. I'm absolutely on board for reading it, but I think it sounds like a story that would be totally awesome to read collected, all at once. Give me either 2 trades or maybe a nice, thicker trade or whatever. So I was totally going to wait for the trade of this entire story to come out. And then they showed that Alex Ross was doing a brand new timeless variant. So I had to get at least this one. Like I said, I haven't read this one yet, and I don't know if I will. I might read it just to get a little bit of a taste of what the story's going to be like, or I may just completely wait and go in blind for the collected edition. But I couldn't pass up the timeless variant. I certainly don't have all of them, but I like to try to get them when I can find them. And that one being awesome, yeah, I definitely had to get at least this issue. Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse number 1, the Greg Land classic Gwen Stacy variant. Say what you will about Greg Land, he has some people who aren't such big fans, but I really like the cover. I love classic. You guys know I love like the retro stuff, the classics, especially the Bronze Age, and that is classic Gwen Stacy right there. Green jacket, purple skirt, black headband, thigh-high boots. So I had to get that one. I read this one just a little bit ago, and I didn't love it. I think I'm going to just wait. I don't even think I'll get this one in trade. Probably just do Marvel Unlimited, because I just didn't. This one was weird. This one was just kind of like that Devil's Reign Superior 4. This one was just a little bit too far out there for me. I love the character of Gwen Stacy, obviously, Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider, whatever you want to call her. It was cool to see her in this, but I just didn't love this one. So, but you might like it if you're a huge Spider-Gwen fan or a big multiverse fan. It's kind of cool that we have this and the What If Miles Morales series at the same time. This is not a What If book like Miles Morales is, but they both entail Gwen or Miles dealing with alternate versions of themselves, like alternate versions of themselves where they're other heroes, which is pretty neat. But this one I didn't love as much, so I will probably just wait till Marvel Unlimited and then finish out the rest. And then last up from Marvel, we got Venom number 6, the nice Mark Bagley variant. This is just classic Spider-Man. This looks like the Spider-Man I was reading when I was growing up in the 90s. So I had to get this one. I haven't read this Venom series yet, but, because I haven't read the King in Black stuff yet, and I'm a little bit worried that kind of like the Batman stuff that I've talked about before. I'm enjoying it, but I feel like I would have gotten more had I read everything leading up to the current run of Batman and Detective Comics. This is going to be the same way, but I am going to go ahead and, tackle these 6 issues that I have now before King in Black and just try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, I had to get it, if nothing else, for the cover, but yeah, I'm going to check it out, see what I think. As for DC, it was a slightly smaller DC week, but we've still got some good ones in here. Detective Comics number 1056. This is part 10 of the Arkham Tower storyline. And like we said last week, it's off the rails. The veil is lifted at Arkham Tower. There's no more charade. All the criminals in there are out from under of whatever it was that was controlling them. I won't say what it is in case you haven't read it yet and don't want to be spoiled. But it's still really good. We get some good Nightwing, Batwoman, Huntress. We get a lot of Huntress in this one. Yeah, this has been a really fun story. Another character shows up near the end. I won't say who. You probably figured out. But so that should make the last two parts of this really interesting. But this has been a really good story. It's going to be a really good story when they inevitably collect it all. So if you're waiting to read it that way, I think you're in for a treat. And the backup story is good too. It takes place like the last one did around the time of No Man's Land, which is really interesting. I love when newer stories sort of revisit the older ones. So it's good too. So all in all, this was a really good issue. Future State Gotham number 11. So this is going to go in the Bat box. I have a completely stuffed long box full of Bat books that I have to catch up on. The Tynion era, Batman, Detective, Nightwing, Joker, Batman, Catwoman, I Am Batman, and this. So I've got to catch up on all that stuff. I have no idea who that is on the cover. Maybe you guys do if you've read it, or maybe it's a new character. I don't know. But I'm definitely looking forward to catching up on all this stuff because I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that I'm missing out on. And then speaking of the stuff that I have to catch up on, I Am Batman number 7. So this is going to go in that box as well because I haven't read this series yet. But these Mattina covers, I think that's Mattina, right? They are, yeah. These covers are so cool. I am super excited to learn about Jace Fox and how he becomes Batman and how he does it in these early days. We saw how, what he was like in Future State, which was really cool. And now I can't wait to see the beginnings of that. And then another one for that box is Joker number 13. So I think I was going to drop this one just because I didn't know if I needed it, but the series is ending next issue, number 14. So I figured I'd go ahead and finish it out. Got this nice punchline cover. Haven't read any of this series either, but I'm going to stick it in that box and then catch up at some point. One that I did read that I absolutely loved, Superman Son of Kal-El number 9. So this is part 2 of a 2-part crossover with Nightwing number 89, which came out last week, I believe. I hadn't read it when I got it then, but I read it last night. Then I read this one right after it. So good. It made me want to just tear open all those other Tom Taylor Nightwing issues without having... But I want to try to read it alongside the Tynion Batman and all that other stuff because they all sort of fit together, right? So, but that one issue of Nightwing was awesome, and then this as the second part of that was super cool. John Kent and Dick Grayson was the duo that I didn't know that I needed. We tend to associate John Kent with Damian Wayne because they were the Super Sons. They were the same age before John Kent got aged up. But seeing him interact with Nightwing, even though Nightwing's older, and then you've got a younger John Kent, but they still seem equals. Not that... there's just not much of... There's not as much of a Batman and Robin, even though they're pretty much on the same playing field too, but it was just really cool seeing these two team up. The Rising storyline is really getting going. Something happens in this that was really interesting. Something happens with a villain that happens with Superman, and it's framed in a different way, and now he's got to figure out how to deal with it. This whole series has been about him trying to be a better Superman, or how does he at least fill his father's shoes, if not do even better. And now he's got to deal with this other thing on top of it. So this was a fantastic issue. I would love for Nightwing to pop up more with John Kent, and the Rising storyline, I'm really digging it. And then last one for DC is Superman versus Lobo number 3. So I didn't get the chance to read this one yet, but I'm excited to because the first issue was fine, but the second issue was interesting because that's when Superman and Lobo finally met up, right? The first issue was like them sort of on this collision course together, and then they finally met up in issue 2. And that's when it felt like the series got started. So this is the follow-up to that. I think this is the last issue. I think it's only a 3-issue miniseries. So I don't know how much Superman Lobo goodness they can cram into just one, but I'm excited to find out. And then I've only got 2 Image books this week and no other indies, but I've got Radiant Red number 1. Read this a little while ago. This one was really cool. I'm loving the, what do you call it? The Radiant verse, the Radiant universe, I guess. I'm all caught up on Radiant Black. That's so good. What are they calling it? Year 2, I think, is about to start with issue 13 that's coming out soon. Rogue Sun was awesome. The Supermassive one-shot was really, really cool. We get to see Radiant Red, and unfortunately I can't remember her real name, but We saw a lot of her backstory, I think in Radiant Black number 6. We saw that she did some morally questionable things, and we've seen her since in Radiant Black, and she's, you know, making things right. But now those questionable things are coming back to haunt her in this. I think this is only a 5-issue miniseries, so it'll be interesting to see how she sort of deals with that. But this was just another awesome addition to the Radiant universe, and I can't wait to read more. And then Spawn 327, which is going to go right down here in my Spawn pile, which is not quite as big as my giant bat box of stuff to catch up on. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't read any of the Spawn stuff. Gunslinger, King Spawn, Scorched, whatever. I haven't read any of it, but it's all right down here. I'm going to add this to it and get caught up at some point. But holy cow, the fun does not stop there, because I've got a huge stack of collected editions, probably more than I've ever gotten before. It just so happened that these all landed on the same day. It's always, you know, I pre-order all this stuff, and the release dates are so far out, and they get pushed back, and they kind of get spread out, right? Because some of them get delayed, some don't, and they all get nice and spread out. Well, this time, most of them did get delayed until today. They all landed on today, but that's fine because they're super awesome, and I can't wait to read them all. So the first one is Moon Knight. What is this one called? Just Moon Knight? I'm trying to think. Like, this is just the run from Jeff Lemire, right? So Moon Knight, the 2016 run, numbers 1 through 14. I think this is that whole run. I haven't read this. I'm getting jazzed for the Moon Knight series on Disney Plus coming up in a couple weeks. So there was the other collection that came out, I think that's over there somewhere, a while back that I picked up, and now I've got this one as well. So I've got plenty of Moon Knight to read in preparation for that. Savage Avengers, the 5th trade paperback. So this collects issues number 23 through 28, which is the end of this run. I do have most of these single issues, but I've got most of the series in trade, so I figured I'll just add that to it, and that way the whole series is in trade now. But you got Conan, Wolverine, Doctor Doom's on here, Doctor Strange, Black Knight. I mean, yeah, so that's just, you know, I've heard nothing but good things. I haven't started this series yet, but now that I've got the entire thing, I can sit down and just blow through it all. Then next up, we've got Why the Last Man, Compendium 2. So I think this finishes out the story. This is issues 32 through 60, which I do believe is the entire series. So I picked up the first compendium whenever it came out a while back, and now here's the second one. I love these big, you guys know I love my omnibuses and my big oversized hardcovers and stuff, but I love these big, just soft covers as well. These real big thick ones that you can just sit down. There's a nice meaty story in here. I've never read Why the Last Man, so I can't wait to pair this one with the first one and tear through this entire series. So I've got some cool hardcovers as well. The first one is Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. So this is a hardcover reprint of a big treasury-sized story that came out back in the 70s, I believe, or maybe early 80s. I think this is 70s era. But I don't really know why I bought this, because I've never been a Legion of Superheroes fan. I don't know anything about them other than just a few characters. But this was just cool. It's not super thick, but I couldn't pass this up. This really nice hardcover. This one is written by Paul Levitz with art by Mike Grell. He of Green Arrow fame, at least that's what I associate him with. But this thing is huge. So in comparison, here is a regular size comic with it, and then here is the magazine size, like Superman versus Lobo that tend to come out now. So this is the actual size of the Treasury editions that used to come out like back in the 70s, when they used to do a whole bunch of Treasury size editions. So the Superman versus Spider-Man, that classic one that I got a while back, the original, it's this big. So this thing is huge, nice, big, colorful pages. I just thought, like I said, I've never been into Legion of Superheroes. I don't even know what this story is about, but this is just such a nice, pretty book. I just wanted to have it. Next up is the Lobster Johnson Omnibus, Volume 1. So I've never read Lobster Johnson. I've read a couple of like Hellboy one-shots, but a few months ago, I think I got it from Amazon. It was the Hellboy 4-volume omnibus set. Now, they were paperbacks. They weren't hardcovers, but they were in a nice box set that looked really cool. So I've got 4 nice big Hellboy books to read, and then Lobster Johnson is part of that whole universe. And I've just always been interested in this and Hellboy and BPRD and that whole world, and I just know nothing about it. So now I've got a whole bunch of good books to read. So this collects just a bunch of different Lobster Johnson stories. I don't know, I guess in chronological order too, so I don't have to figure out which ones to read. So it was just really cool to see this nice big book. You can see about how thick it is there. A lot of good Lobster Johnson stuff to read. I can't wait to... I'm going to read those Hellboy ones first, I think, and then I'm going to jump into this one. Next up, I haven't shown one of these off in a while, so I was happy to get a new one today. The Incredible Hulk Omnibus Volume 1. So this is a new printing. This one came out, years ago, but they've reprinted it. This one collects Incredible Hulk 1 through 6 from back in 63, I think. And then when it converted over to Tales to Astonish, so this goes then Tales to Astonish 59 to 101, and then it flipped back to Incredible Hulk starting with number 102, and that was somewhere in the late 60s. So I don't necessarily love all of these older Hulk stories. A lot of them are more sci-fi-ish, where he's fighting aliens and traveling to other subatomic worlds, and I've talked about some of that stuff in my History of Marvel videos. But I just wanted to have it, I'm putting my library together, and I just like having all of these old stories for posterity. So yeah, this one came out, and I had to go with the classic cover, and yeah, I don't know if I'll tear into this one anytime soon, but I'm just glad to have these old stories. And then last but not least, a series that I've been interested in for a while, and I've never read it, and when they announced these collections, it was a no-brainer for me to get. But it's weird that they all came out on the same day. So we've got the oversized hardcover of Deadly Class, Volume 1, and Volume 2, and Volume 3. All of these came out on the same day, which is weird. So these 3 volumes take us all the way through, I think, issue 44, I believe, of the series, which ends at 52, I think. So that's kind of weird too, is like, I'm surprised that they didn't wait to redo these until, is the series even done? I'm not sure. But so like, I've got these nice big hardcovers, and then I guess I'll have to get 2 more trade paperbacks to finish out the series whenever I get there. I'm not going to be there for a while. But these things are cool, and if you hold, like, Marvel could learn a lesson, and DC could learn a lesson from these collections, because look how awesome those things look together, right? They're all nice and uniform, different colors, same logo and font, the numbers all in the same place. So yeah, I have been interested in this series for a long time. One that I always wanted to read. I was going to have to buy it in some way because it's not like, there's no Image Unlimited digital service or whatever, and they aren't all on Comixology Unlimited. So rather than buy a whole bunch of trade paperbacks, I thought it would be cool just to have these. So I can't wait to dive into this one. I really like Rick Remender's writing. I don't know a lot about it, but yeah, I can't wait to jump in. It's just, like I said, it's just so weird that they all came out on the same day. I think volumes 1 and 2 came out prior, and these are new editions, new printings, but I think volume 3 came out today, like for the first time. So I pre-ordered them all at once because they all showed up in previews all at once, and then I thought they would get spread out, volume 1 now, volume 2 next month at 3. Nope, they're all here today. So, but yeah, that's cool. I'm glad to have them. They're going to look awesome on the shelf, and hopefully it's a good story as well. So guys, that is it. That was a huge day, probably one of the biggest days I've had in a while, and not even for single issues. Like, the single issues were about normal, if maybe a little bit less than normal. But holy cow, the collected editions, which I'm a big fan of. I love just sitting down with a big old book like this, or maybe one of those nice soft covers like Why the Last Man, just sitting down and cracking open a nice big story and just consuming it, just devouring it. So I can't wait to do that with all of these. So guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. If nothing else, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you picked up this week. Was it a big week for you, smaller week for you? Did you get any cool collections or what have you? I didn't even look in the dollar bins this week because I was like, this is plenty. I don't want to tempt myself. Actually, I did peek through one of them, and there was some stuff in there that I was interested in, but I was like, no, that's too much. This is plenty. This is gonna last me for a while. So, but yeah, just let me know what you got. I love comic books. I could talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. Guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They are just another fun form of storytelling. There is plenty out there that everybody can look through and find something that they like, and because there's so much, it's super easy to simply just disregard the things that you don't like and just let everybody else enjoy those books. Also guys, don't forget, it's not how much you buy every week. Like, this is a great comic book haul, but even if you bought one book this week, one single issue, and you love it, that is also a great comic book haul. It does not matter how much you buy each week, whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books. What makes a great comic book haul is that whatever it is you do get, you love and it's special to you and you're excited to sit down and open it up and read it and just be consumed by it, that's what makes a great comic book haul. So guys, I appreciate you watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.